Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We will try to conclude our chapter number 24 from CC Madhya today. Mukam karoti vachalam, pankum langate girim, yat kripatamam vande, Shri Gurum Din Tarinam, Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyeshwaram Hariyam Tatsat. Shlok 352. Krishnera Swarupa Ganera Sakal Haya Jnana, Vidhi Rag Marge Sadhana, Bhakti Ravidhan. By reading these instructions to Sanatana Goswami, one will become fully aware of Lord Krishna's various expansions and the process of devotional service according to the regulative principles and spontaneous love. Thus everything can be fully known. Verse 353. Krishna Prema Bhakti Rasa Bhakti Siddhanta Ihar Shravane Bhakti Jnanena Sabha Ant. By reading these instructions, a pure devotee can understand love of Krishna, the mellows of devotional service, and the conclusion of devotional service. Everyone can understand all these things to their ultimate end by studying these instructions. Verse 354. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Advaita Charana Yanra Pranadhana Se Pai Edhana. The conclusion of these instructions can be known to one whose life and soul are the lotus feet of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Prabhu. Verse 355. Shri Rupa Raghunath Pade Yar Ash Chaitanya Charitamrit Kahe Krishna Das. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I Krishna Das narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrit, following in their footsteps. Purport. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to Shri Chaitanya Charitamrit, Madhya Lila, chapter 24, describing the Ātmārāma verse and the Lord's mercy upon Sanatana Goswami. So moving on to the last chapter of the Madhya Lila, chapter number 25, how all the residents of Varanasi became Vaishnavas. The following is a summary of chapter 25. A Maharashtrian Brahman who was living in Banaras was a great devotee of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was always very happy to hear the glories of the Lord, and it was by his arrangement that all the sannyasis of Varanasi became devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He invited all the sannyasis to his house to meet Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and this incident had been described in the 7th chapter of the Adi Lila. From that day, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became famous in the city of Varanasi, and many important men in that city became his followers. By and by, one of the disciples of the great sannyasi Prakashananda Saraswati became devoted to Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and this devotee explained Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Prakashananda Saraswati and supported his views with various arguments. One day, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to take a bath at Panchanada, and afterwards all his devotees began chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in front of the temple of Bindu Madhav. At this time, Prakashananda Saraswati and all the devotees approached the Lord. Prakashananda Saraswati immediately fell down at the lotus feet of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and very much regretted his past behavior toward the Lord. He asked Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about devotional service in terms of the Vedanta Sutra, and the Lord told him about devotional service that is approved by great personalities who know the Vedanta Sutra. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then pointed out that Srimad Bhagavatam is the proper commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. He then explained the Chatushloki, the 4 shlokas of Srimad Bhagavatam, the essence of the great scripture. From that day on, all the sannyasis of Varanasi became devotees of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Before returning to his headquarters at Jagannath Puri, the Lord advised Sanatana Goswami to go to Vrindavan. The Lord then departed for Jagannath Puri. Kaviraj Goswami then describes something about Srila Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami and Subhuddhi Rai. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to Jagannath Puri through the great forest of Jharkhand, the present Jharkhand, in central India. At the end of this chapter, Kaviraj Goswami sums up the incidents of the Madhya Lila and instructs every living being to read the sublime book of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime. So, moving on to the first text of chapter 25. Vaishnavi Kritya Sannyasi Mukhan Kashi Nivasinah Sanatanam Susamskritya Prabhur Niladrim Agamat. After converting into Vaishnavas, all the residents of Varanasi who were headed by sannyasis, and after completely educating the instructing Sanatan Goswami there, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to Jagannath Puri. Verse 2. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Dvait Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakt Vrinda. All glories to Lord Chaitanya, all glories to Lord Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Chandra, and all glories to all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Verse number 3. Mata Mahaprabhu Dui Masa Parayanta Shikhaila Tanre Bhakti Siddhantera Anta. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Sri Sanatan Goswami in all the conclusions of devotional service for 2 consecutive months. Verse 4. Paramananda Kirtaniya Shekharera Sangi Prabhure Kirtan Sunaya Ati Bada Rangi. For as long as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Varanasi, Paramananda Kirtaniya, who was a friend of Chandrasekhar's, chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and other songs to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in a very humorous way. Verse 5. Sannyasira Gana Prabhure Yadi Upekshila Bhakta Dukha Khandaite Tare Kripa Kaila. When the Mayavadi sannyasis at Varanasi criticized Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord's devotees became very much depressed. To satisfy them, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed his mercy to sannyasis. Verse 6. Sannyasire Kripa Purve Likhiya Chon Vistariya Uddeshe Kahiye Ihan Sankshep Kariya. In the 7th chapter of the Adi Lila, I have already elaborately described Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's deliverance of the sannyasis at Varanasi, but I shall briefly repeat it in this chapter. Verse 7. Yaha taha prabhura ninda kare sannyasir gana shuni dukhe maharashtriya vipra kare chintana. When the Mayavadi sannyasis were criticizing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu anywhere and everywhere in Varanasi, the Maharashtrian Brahman, hearing the blasphemy, began to think about this unhappily. Verse number 8. Prabhura swabhav yeba dekhe sannidhane sarup anubhavi tanre ishwar kari mane. The Maharashtrian Brahman thought, whoever closely sees the characteristics of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately realizes his personality and accepts him as the Supreme Lord. Verse 9. Kona prakare parun yadi ekatra karite iha dekhi sannyasi gana habe inhar bhakte. If by some means I can assemble all the sannyasis together, they will certainly become his devotees after seeing his personal characteristics. Prabhupada by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. If one saw the personal characteristics and activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one would certainly be convinced that he was a supreme personality of Godhead. One can ascertain the following in the footsteps of the Shastric injunctions. The sincere study and appreciation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also applicable to his authorized devotees, and it is clearly stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Antilila 7.11, Kali Kaler Dharma, Krishna Nam Sankirtan, Krishna Shakti Vina Nahe Tar Pravartan. In this age of Kali, real religious propaganda should induce people to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is possible for someone who is especially empowered by Krishna. No one can do this without being especially favored by Krishna. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments in this regard in the Anubhashya, where he quotes a verse from Narayan Samhita. Dvapariyer janer Vishnu Pancharatrayestu kevalah kalau tu nama matrena pujyate Bhagwan Hari. In the Dwapar Yug, devotees of Lord Krishna, Vishnu and Krishna rendered devotional service according to the principles of Pancharatra. In the age of Kali, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is worshipped simply by chanting of His holy name. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur then comments, without being empowered by the direct potency of the Lord Krishna to fulfill his desire And without being specifically favored by the Lord, no human being can become the spiritual master of the whole world. He certainly cannot succeed by mental concoction which is not meant for devotees or religious people. Only an empowered personality can distribute the holy name of the Lord and enjoin all fallen souls to worship Krishna. By disturbing the holy name of the Lord, he cleanses the hearts of the most fallen people. Therefore, he extinguishes the blazing fire of the material world. Not only that, he broadcasts the shining brightness of Krishna's effulgence throughout the world. Such an acharya or spiritual master should be considered non-different from Krishna. That is, he should be considered the incarnation of Lord Krishna's potency. Such a personality is Krishna Lingita Gita Vigraha. That is, he is always embraced by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Such a person is above the self-considerations of the Varnashram institution. He is the Guru or spiritual master for the entire world, the devotee on topmost platform, the Mahabhagavat stage, and a Paramhamsa Thakur, a spiritual form only fit to be addressed as Paramahamsa or Thakur. Nonetheless, there are many people who are just like owls and never open their eyes to see the sunshine. These owlish personalities, who are inferior even to Mayavadi sannyasis, cannot see the brilliance of Krishna's favor upon the Mahabhagavan devotees. They are prepared to criticize the person engaged in distributing the holy name all over the world and following in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who wanted Krishna consciousness preached in every town and city. Shlok 10. Varanasi vas amar haya sarva kale sarva kal dukha pab iha na karele. I shall have to reside at Varanasi for the rest of my life. If I do not try to carry out this plan, I shall certainly continue to suffer mental depression. Verse 11. Eta chinti nimantrila sannyasira gane tabe se vipra aila mahaprabhura sthane. Thinking like this, the Maharashtrian Brahman extended an invitation to all the sannyasis of Varanasi. After doing this, he finally approached Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to extend him an invitation. Verse 12. Hena kale ninda shuni shekhara tapana dukkha pana prabhu pade kala nivedana. At this time, Chandrasekhar and Tapan Mishra both heard blasphemous criticism against Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and felt very unhappy. They came to Mahaprabhu's lotus feet to submit a request. They submitted the request, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, upon seeing his devotees' unhappiness, decided to turn the minds of the Mayavadi sannyasis. Verse 14. Hena kale vipra asi karila nimantrana aneka dainyadi kari dharila charana. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was seriously considering meeting with the Mayavadi sannyasis, the Maharashtrian Brahman approached him and extended an invitation. The Brahman submitted his invitation with great humility, and he touched the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Verse 15. Tabe Mahaprabhu Tandra Nimantrana Manila Ar Dina Madhyan Kari Tandra Ghare Gela. Mahaprabhu accepted his invitation, and the next day, after finishing his noontime activities, he went to the Brahmana's home. Verse 16. Taha yaiche kaila prabhu sannyasira nistar panch tattva khyane taha kariyachi vistar. I'm sorry, I have already described Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's deliverance of the Mayavadi sannyasis in the 7th chapter of Adi Lila. When I described the glories of Panchatattva, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Nityananda and Advaita Acharya, and of course Gadadhar Pandit Prabhu and Srivas. Taha Yaiche Kaila Prabhu Sannyasi Ranestar Panch Twakyane Iha Kriyache Vistar. I have already described Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's deliverance of the Mayavadi sannyasi in the 7th chapter of Adi Lila when I described the glories of the Panchatattva. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, Gadadhar Prabhu and Srivas. Verse 16, Tahani Aiche Kaila Prabhu Sannyasi Ranistar. Right, I've already described Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's deliverance of the Mayavadi. Okay, I've already described Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's deliverance of the Mayavadi sannyasis in the 7th chapter of Adi Lila when I described the glories of Panchatattva, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Nityananda Advaita Prabhu, Gadadhar Prabhu and Srivas. Okay. We will carry on our reading from verse 17 next time. Thank you for joining. Hariam Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.